Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. We've had one blockbuster fight this week already, with Fulton being completely outclassed by Naoya Inoue. Let's move our attention to the second one of the week, which of course, as I'm sure you've heard, is Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. And we have Spence, who is the, let me get this right, the IBF, WBA and WBC champ, taking on Crawford, who's the WBO champ, for all the marbles, the whole shebang. And Spence, 35 years of age, has a 28-0 record with 22 KOs, I want to say. Terence Crawford, 35 years old, 39 wins, no defeats, no draws, and 30 KOs. As with most great fights, this is a difficult one to predict, but I'm going to have a go. But let's have a look at the fighters first. I'm not going to go through the whole resumes because I'm sure you know a lot about them anyway. We'll start with Spence, turned pro just over a decade ago. Won his first his first title against Kell Brook over in England. That's the IBF welterweight title. Stopped Kell late in the fight in the 11th round. Kell had a busted eye socket. He's made defences against Lamont Peterson, who'd seen better days. Carlos Ocampo was 22-0 going in. He didn't last around with Errol. Mikey Garcia was a bit too small. Sean Porter, rough and tumble fight that was. He scored unanimous decision over Mikey Garcia and a split one over Sean. Garcia at the time was 39-0, which oddly enough is the record that Errol now has. Garcia was 36-2 going in, but again too small. And most recently, your Dennis Ugas, and that was back in, I want to say, April 2022. And Ugas was coming off the victory over Manny Pacquiao. Ugas, good, a big, strong welterweight, very good. Was given quite a decent chance as an underdog against Errol, but didn't get a look in. Got TKO'd in 10. And yeah, so you go, he's got 3 belts now, Errol. He picked the WBA one up off Ugas. I can't remember, was it the WBC who was off Porter? I think that was a unification, wasn't it? Anyway, a very good fighter, clearly. Southpaw, just like Errol, Terence Crawford. As for Crawford himself, like I say, 2 years older at 35. He started his career in 2008, believe it or not. That's 15 years ago. That's a long time ago. But didn't win his first title, which was at lightweight, until he beat Ricky Burns in Britain. So they both have something in common. They both picked up their first world titles in Britain. And yeah, that's not a bad not a bad look for Burns, is it? He went the distance with him, with Terence. But he didn't stay long at lightweight. I mean, he beat Yuriorkis Gamboa. I don't think Gamboa was ever really a lightweight. He knocked him out in 9 rounds. I think Gamboa stung him with one. I seem to remember. Am I imagining that? Did he sting Bud with a punch with a particular? I can't remember what. Yeah, I haven't watched that fight in ages. But he was on the floor enough. I mean, he was on the floor, I think, in the 5th, the 8th, and twice in the 9th. So even if he did sting Crawford, he woke up the beast. And yeah, got stopped in 9 rounds. Ray Beltran, he lost a decision, unanimous decision to Bud, and then Bud moved up quickly to light welterweight, or super lightweight if you prefer. Was matched for a vacant belt against Thierry Jean. It was I think he only had one defeat, 29 wins, 1 defeat, and Bud knocks him out in 10 rounds. Picks up his second world title, again a WBO title, first one was as well. Defended against Hank Lundy, stopped him in 5. Unanimous decision over Victor Postel when Postel had something left. 8-round TKO against John Molina Jr. actually. And then I'm missing one out, I can't remember. Well, I think he made another defence. Was it Felix Diaz, maybe? And then he fought Julius Ndonga. By the way, I should mention that he picks up the WBC belt as well against Victor Postel, I think it was. And then he he fights Julius Ndongo, who has 2 belts as well. He makes light work of Ndongo, knocks him out in 3 rounds. Ndongo's still fighting, and he shouldn't be. He should be retired. Still picking up stoppage defeats. It's a shame. But anyway, with his work done, undisputed champion at 140. Crawford then moved up to 147, took on Jeff Horn, stopped him in 9 rounds, where he has remained at 147, and he's scored a string of stoppage wins, defences. Amir Khan was done in 6. That was back in 2019. Jose Benavidez was undefeated and got stopped in the final round. I think it was 27-0 going in. Kabalauskis was he stopped or did he retire? I can't remember offhand. I know he got done in about 8, 9, 10 rounds. Then he made light work of a damaged Kell Brook. It's a common opponent, of course, stopped him in 4. Sean Porter, the only stoppage defeat of Sean Porter's career was to Terence Crawford, got done in 10 rounds. And then most recently, back in December of last year, he stopped David Avanesian in 6 rounds. So when you consider that Bud's last fight was 7, 8 months ago, whereas Errol's was, what are we talking about, 14, 15 months ago, yeah, the activity thing is a thing. But with Errol Spence, of course, PBC fighters, they seem to only fight once a year, which I don't get it. I mean, there's no substitute for being busy. But unfortunately for Errol, I mean, 33 years old, sometimes older fighters, they benefit from not fighting too often, from not having too many training camps, because it's the training camps as well as the fighting that can take it out of you. But, you know, and let's not forget, of course, Errol had that horrendous car crash. How in God's name he walked away from it, I do not know, because if you've seen the footage, you know what I mean. That Ferrari just evaporates, or disintegrates, into bits, and Errol was slung out of it and had a damaged eye. I think got done for something, didn't he? Like, wasn't it bad, dangerous driving or drunk driving or something? But there have been there's no evidence of lasting effects of that when you consider the 2 fights since, which were Sean Porter, which were well, actually, oh God, who was it now? Well, his last fight was Ugas. There's absolutely no evidence of damage in that fight, because Ugas was a big, strong lump, big welterweight. Was coming off that Manny Pacquiao win, and Terence just beat the crap out of him and looked brilliant doing it. But prior to that, Danny Garcia, he won a unanimous decision. That was post car wreck, and even though Garcia, a much smaller man, you would expect Errol to win. He didn't get rid of him, but he didn't look bad at all. He actually boxed quite well, and Garcia's no mug when it comes to boxing, as a pure boxer. So, and I'm going to assume, by the way, before I make a prediction, that both these guys are coming in at optimum weight, because people have talked about Errol's weight in the past and how he can blow up between fights. I don't see any evidence of that. When I've seen him, I saw him on. He turned up. I can't remember which card it was, but he was supporting one of his fellow PBC fighters. Turned up and looked in pretty good nick. No fat around the face or the neck or anything. I think he's going to be on weight. And I'll assume that Bud's the same, and that neither of these guys have got any injuries coming in. And if they have, well, what are you getting in the ring for? As far as I'm concerned, there aren't any excuses once that opening bell goes. So, all right, so yeah, who's going to win? Okay, well, they're both southpaws. The bigger man, you would presume, is Errol Spence. When I say they're both southpaws, they're both extremely intelligent pressure fighters. Both can box very well. Both have very good jabs, very sharp jabs. Errol likes to use his more. Both guys fire to the body a lot. I mean, they both scored body punch KOs, and even with other stoppages, the body work has been the key to opening up the guy for the headshots, as it often is. How do I see the fight going? I think probably Errol will come out and try to. I think he'll be jabbing more. I think Bud in the first round will be having a look at Errol and just trying to maybe draw his jab, draw the sting a little bit, just to see just how much power the other man's got. I think Errol, but both these guys like to get up close and explode with punches. Both work both hands fine. They're both southpaws. Both can switch here. I think I've noticed when up close, Bud likes to switch quite a lot when there's a bit of phone booth warfare going on. Bud tends to sort of shift his feet from stance to stance just to sort of bewilder the opponent. Errol can switch as well, but they both like to go to the body, and they're both killers. When they get their man hurt, they'll go for it. So I think to start with, Errol will start more with the jab. Bud will probably for the first round have a look at him. Second round you might see Crawford edging forward. Who's got the quicker feet? I'll go with Bud. Yeah, I think Bud's got the quicker feet. I think Crawford will start to let his hands go more from maybe the third, fourth round on. We'll want to be putting pressure on a man he probably considers to be a bit smaller than him. He probably is a bit smaller in terms of frame anyway. I think Crawford will be looking to fire between the punches. Probably he'll quicken his feet a bit, get up close, and when he does, will start to let his hands go more as the fight progresses. I think by the second, third of the fight, so rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, I think there'll be a battle. It'll be more of a battle now. I don't think this will be a slugging match, obviously not. They're too skillful, but you'll start to see more action from about the fourth, fifth, sixth round onwards. Neither guy will want to have a deficit to catch up on. And a lot of these rounds are going to be very, very close. I really see that. Both guys like to be precise with their punches. I think Crawford will probably, in the middle rounds, maybe win most of the middle third of the fight, maybe 3-1 in rounds between the 5th and the 8th, which brings us down to, I think probably after 4 rounds you'll have Errol ahead after. And then he'll win the first third of the fight. The second third of the fight, I would think Bud would start to take over, which means that who's going to win in the final third. Now, I think that Bud Crawford has slightly more variety than Errol. I think he's slightly more intelligent. That's not to say that Errol isn't an intelligent fighter. I think Bud will take over. Won't be much in it. But I can see him basically edging the final third of the fight, and I think Bud Crawford is going to win a very close, maybe even controversial decision over Errol Spence. And I think he'll do it by just firing a couple more punches every round. I think he might be a little bit more intelligent than Errol. I think he'll as the fight progresses, and Errol maybe the weight's an issue. I don't know. But I think he'll start to time Errol more. I think Errol might start to get a bit overly eager when he's in those middle rounds. When Bud's coming on, he might start to get a bit too eager and lean forward too much. He's a very precise puncher, but at the same time, urgency tends to make us take risks. I think Crawford will stay probably more poised. I think he'll hold his shape a bit more, and I think he will win this fight. Very, very close decision in the final third of the fight. I don't think he'll stop him. I think it'll be a decision, and it's going to be controversial. They've got a rematch clause, so I say controversial. It'll be close, and they've got a rematch clause, so that'll set up the rematch. But what do you think? Leave your comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you feel I'm wrong? Comments below. Thanks for your time as always. I'm looking forward to reading your comments and I will answer them. And like the channel if you like it. Hit the subscribe button and hit the like button on the video if you liked it. Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, as always, thanks very much. This is going to be a great one. We've had one great fight this week already. Let's look forward to another one. Tell me your thoughts. Bye for now.